There you go.
Oh, nice.
Click, 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 nothing happens, and then it does happen. Anyway, welcome to the show. You know how it goes. Right, enough of that. Yes, put a large capital Q, then a colon, type your question out using proper English and full words. Don't use TLAs, they're a PITAFFS. And suffix the whole thing with a question mark. That makes it very easy for Ted, His Majesty Ted, King of the Bears, also King of PimBartia, and a few other things as well. It makes it easier for him to find. He's also the King of Knob Twiddling, is Ted. So basically, yes, you have your instructions. My Meat Militia staff, you know what to do. We know what to do as well. We just answer your questions pretty much and chat amongst ourselves. And Fluffy's had a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, poor Fluffy. She's got her head down going, I've had a haircut and I look funny.
She does look funny.
She's still Varden's soortaste Hund, as far as I'm concerned. Except for when she drags her ass down the hallway carpet, leaving behind many, many skin marks. Or indeed when she...
And that changes her appearance?
Makes her not cute anymore. Makes her your dog when she does stuff like that. Or when she shouts at the neighbours just for walking past, even though it's their land and they're allowed to and stuff.
Pretty much does that every day, but
yeah,
whatever.
All right, anyway, a bit of action already before the show even started in terms of super chats and memberships and stuff, so perhaps we'll go through those, will we?
Memberships.
Well, there's a member there.
Yes.
The Meat Militia champion.
Welcome to the Meat Militia.
Juliet's low-carb autistic experience. Excellent. Welcome to the Meat Militia champion rank.
Where you can be as autistic as you like.
You can, yes. We have a bit of that going on here, and that's just the dogs.
Yeah, maybe they're autistic.
All right.
Right, super chat. So it's funny because this was just popping up on your YouTube earlier today. Did you see Judy Cho's video addressing Paul Saladino's nonsense? It was glorious.
I haven't yet watched it, but I suspect it will be good. Yes.
You looked pleased when you saw it.
Well, I'm pleased that others are jumping on the bandwagon and mentioning how, well, wrong Paul Saladino is about pretty much everything he's been saying for the last 4.5, 5 years. Wrong, Paul. Salad, I don't know. Completely wrong.
Salad, I don't know.
Yes, wrong, dangerous, stupid, contraindicated nonsense from you. Good. Well done, Judy. I'll watch it later.
Okie dokie. So we
When I've
do
got
have
time.
a question. So
Yes.
this is the perfect question with a big capital Q to start with. So if you're new here, put a capital Q and then ask your question once. And we shall get to it. Unless it's a shit question, then I might skip it. There you go.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
good day, my king and queen. Soyoung Kwak recently completed an oncology study for JAMA. She found a connection between microbiota and head neck cancer. Oral care or meat only keeps healthy microbes? ?
Well, what I can say about microbiota, both oral and in your colon, well, anywhere in your enteric tract really, is that we know more about the surface of Mars for sure. It's an area where there is a lot of speculation, a lot of guesswork. It would seem, however, that the evidence is quite clear that human beings have evolved over at least the last 2.5 and probably more like 4 million years, eating almost nothing but meat and animal fat. So probably that's the ideal diet, and probably that will cultivate the ideal microbiota for most people under most circumstances, all else being equal, I would guess. What would you guess?
Oh, I didn't listen. I was laughing at the next super chat.
She's always ahead of herself.
So I'll just nod and agree. Yes, that was probably correct.
Yes.
Were you finished with that?
Yeah, go on then.
Thanks for the super chat. Is singing banned from this live?
Well, if you would like to read the words in Latin around the garter of the sacred emblem, the seal of PimBartia, behind my right shoulder and ear, you will see that it says, Et commodite canis, which is eat meat. And the second bit says, Et non cantare, which means no singing. All right. So that's what it says on the seal. So that must be the rules. And of course, at the bottom, there's a bit more Latin there, which talks about Ursi a bit.
Very good.
Yes.
So I lost it. Yeah, there are lots of comments on the salad. I don't know.
Salad, I don't know. Yes.
Salad, I don't know. Master Chief Burgess says she also made a point that I had thought a while back. Giving blood. No, this wasn't the one.
Is it not?
No, this was the one. It was the one before by Master Chief Burgess. Hey Bart, just watch a clip by Judy Cho, who took a deep dive into Salad Boy's blood work and identified several concerning numbers.
Right, yep.
And then this one.
I'll have a look at that later.
Blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, that was...
She also made a point that giving blood to reduce your high heme iron levels is just artificially masking a problem. Sure. Bloodletting it is. Stick 2 leeches under your tongue and call me in the morning. While we were talking... Why
would it have to be under the tongue?
Well, put them anywhere you like, pretty much. While we're talking about the sacred seal, the emblem of the independent sovereign state, the nation of PimBartia, let me just make a few other small explanations of that. You will find in that shield crest there the K crest, which is the black and white. You will find the Janssen crest, which is the red and white. And you will find Ted's sigil, which is the yellow field or golden field, with the Trea Chronor on it at the bottom left hand.
But you got this wrong still.
Why is that?
It has to be the pirate flag.
Yeah. We'll fly 2 flags from the ceiling, from the roof of the Palace of PimBartia, which is called Lord Edward Yellow House. And yes, it's yellow. We don't even have to paint it yellow. It's already yellow. We can move in and it's already yellow. And we can hang Ted's flag on a flagpole, which we'll have to erect on the palace. And also you can probably fly the pirate flag if you like, but I think we'll need to be careful about that.
Why?
Well, there are certain gangs that might have already adopted that particular flag.
Is that so?
Yeah, we don't...
See how my ignorance of New Zealand gangs is... Anyway, us in trouble.
Yes, so we better make sure it's, clearly not that flag.
Well, we'll have to create my pirate flag then.
Indeed, that's good. And for those of you who are frantically Googling what the Latin at the bottom part of the thing says, you'll work it out.
I don't see anyone can read that.
Well, maybe if they zoom in.
It's very small.
Yes.
Anywho, next question. Folate levels dropped 13 to 2 in 10 months. Eating 2 pounds of meat a day, it's either I am going to die from not eating liver or die eating it. How am I supposed to get folate? No eggs, dairy.
Well, let me ask you this. What are your symptoms? What are the signs that you have a folate deficiency? How is it that you feel at all unwell or poorly in any way? Also, those tests there, are they 2 one-off tests? Or are they both underpinned by a series of tests taken over a number of weeks each? Because that's important too.
Very nice.
Yes.
There we go. 65 kilo male, 1.7 meter height, 4 times per week on gym, OMAD plus fatty ground beef, 850 grams, plus butter, 100 grams. Too much protein to get from 16% body fat to 12%. Probably 170 grams if 100 grams meat equals 20 grams protein. Up fat, lower protein.
Yes.
Yes, it's a good answer.
Yes, good. The only thing I would throw into that is why in the purple fuck do you want to get down to 12% body fat from 16? Because 16 is already pushing the envelope in terms of what's healthy long term. 20 is probably about the minimum that a male should maintain ongoingly. And how did you get that fat percentage? By what methodology? Because they can be pretty inaccurate too. Yeah, all of that. How long's a piece of string? Your mileage will vary. All of that.
You have an announcement to make.
Do I? Oh, yes. Yes. Last week we spoke about whether the upstairs ensuite, if you like, or toilet facility, bathroom facility, in the new palatial home, which is at the state of PimBartia, which comes into being soon, whether or not there was a shower up there. I felt sure there was. Pim said there wasn't. Of course, Her Majesty is correct. Absolutely correct. There wasn't one.
You saw it here first. Bart was wrong in the real
I
life.
was wrong on the interwebs.
Not on the... Well,
I was wrong on the interwebs because I said I think there's a shower. The plan does show a shower there, but there isn't one there anymore.
Okay.
Right.
It's never been, apparently, according to them, but...
Well, not as long as they've lived there, but the plans were from as built, I guess.
So, at least for not 15 years.
Right.
And we have a super chat.
Super chat. No singing.
Yes, indeed.
Non cantare.
Shut up. Fuck's sake, let me read.
Go on.
What is a good alternative to pork panko for breading? I'm allergic to pork.
Why do you want to do breading? And if you're doing breading, you'd use bread. So it's like vegans saying we have vegan meat. No, you don't. In the same way that we meat eaters don't have breading because we don't eat bread so much. Pretty much. I don't know. I've never. Have you done anything like alternative?
Oh, I can't be bothered to fuck around with.
Exactly. Why would you fuck around? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Carnivore cooking.
Why would you fuck around with such things? Eat meat, drink salted water, and be happy.
I know that pork crackling would probably be better if you ground that up, but I mean, you could just do it with like chicken skins. You would have to roast them yourself or dry them yourself and ground them up, and it would be a lot more skins involved because they're very thin.
You will eat the meat and you will be happy.
Right.
Good.
Looking for next question.
Questions, roly-poly, questions. No singing.
You have to say no singing after every time you sing.
Well, that's the rules. I have to remind myself. I make the rules in this motherfucker.
Okay. See how calm and like well behaved she is when she sits with me.
Oh, I blame the parents myself.
And then you come in and stop it. Fuck. Let the dog be. You can play with that. That's fine.
Ted. Good boy, Ted.
Okay. I'm transitioning to a carnivore diet and have a history of gallbladder removal. I'm experiencing dizziness and stomach pain after eating fatty meats. Do you have any advice on how to overcome this?
Yes, I would try ox bile as one of the interventions. You will also need to probably, in that case, at least at the beginning, you'll need to have more than one meal a day of a smaller amount, perhaps. And if there are still issues, you should probably consult with me behind the scenes, which you can do by typing bit.ly/Bart-KAY, and then it will give you an option to join my Patreon program as a subscriber that can have several consultancies with me for a month. And then what happens is that renews automatically unless you cancel it. So be aware that if you've got what you want out of the first month's worth, you need to cancel it. Otherwise you'll be charged again. No refunds. Ted said so. Yep.
Right. Yep. Hi. Is there much going on in zinc isotopes of human oral remains like nitrogen we should check out?
There is a new emergent field of studies that are starting to be published looking at zinc as a corroborator of the nitrogen ideas, which is a good thing. And yes, absolutely, you can read that stuff. I haven't got to it yet, but it looks on its surface like it's a good corroborative bit of, oh yes, and this backs up that. So, get fucked then.
We have another super chat. Thank you very much, Buck. Was donating Power Red 2 units of red blood cells a bad plan when I'm battling a shoulder injury? I am taking extracerebral stem cell stuff.
The stem cell stuff is good. That's where you get it from. Anyone that's unsure? Yes.
So was it a bad plan? Maybe answer the question.
Well, it didn't have a question. Oh, yes, it does have a question mark, but not at the end. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, maybe. It's one of those, your mileage will vary things. I don't think it's a huge problem. Depends on the reason you were donating blood. Really?
I don't think it's going to hurt you.
No, I don't think so. I think it's fine. Carry on, soldier. As
it's a one-time thing, obviously. So. Started watching for the health info now. I find myself looking forward to you guys for the entertainment value, because Pim can't speak. How does it feel being rock stars, you two?
It used to be all about the music, but she hasn't played the drums in years.
I shall let the new place.
We're going to get the band back together. And yes, you will be recorded.
No.
And yes, you will. And we'll be playing Back in Black.
Are we?
Yes. And that's the one song that we ever did learn together. Ted will be on the camera.
Pim Johnson.
Yes. Pim Johnson. Yeah. Oh, no, you can't be Lars because you actually play in time.
Are you sure about that?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure I'm not.
Yeah. How is it possible that one of the most famous drummers in the world can't play in time? How does that work? He's also quite a good tennis player. Could have played at Wimbledon. His father did play at Wimbledon. Anyway, that's for another day.
I would rather play drums, I think.
Yes, me too. But I'm too uncoordinated to play drums.
Mm.
Mm.
You just like, oh dee doo dee doo dee doo, poof poof poof, and stuff.
Hooty doody doody doo.
Right, next question.
Okay, yeah.
There's a recent video of Vegan Gain saying that he would rather want a person starved to death than sacrifice a chicken for that person to prevent that person from starving to death. Thoughts?
Richard Burgess is an imbecile. Richard Burgess is a high school dropout. Richard Burgess is a fat, tubby waste of space with a severe ego problem and Dunning-Kruger dripping from every pore. He's an offensive turd. And the correct activity when you are faced with a turd is to flush it. I think that covers Richard Burgess. Oh, yes, I forgot. He's also a coward because he won't face me face to face for a debate. Like many others who are also similarly cowardly and make excuses for not doing so. Ridiculous excuses, in fact. Don't they, Fluffy?
Yes.
She's about as interactive as Ted.
Oh,
Well, perhaps a little bit more. Slick it in.
Right, next one.
Yep.
I have an awful fingernail and cuticle biting habit.
Yes.
Do it subconsciously most of the time for my entire life. Was wondering if any of your 5 hacks could relieve this type of thing. Thanks.
It could lead you towards a possibility that you might have the energy, headspace, etc. to do the cognitive behavioural therapy that will be required to stop you from habitually doing that. But I would suggest those 5 things wouldn't achieve it by themselves. This is something you'll have to put some effort into to change a behaviour pattern for the better ongoingly, isn't it?
My mom used to have this awful nail polish called Stop.
Okay.
It tasted fucking horrible.
Right. Okay.
That she put on her nails. So if it's really like subconscious and you just need a reminder, you could try something like that.
Good.
Resistance training question.
Yeah.
Would you recommend I do OMAD after my workout or eat the same amount of food but divide it into a pre-workout and post-workout meal?
I don't give a rip-roaring fuck whether you eat before or after training. Ideally, you'll eat once a day still, unless you're unable for some reason, in which case 2 is fine. All the should I eat before, should I eat after, what's my anabolic window after training? Fuck right off. None of those things make any difference to speak of at all. Write that down. Fuck right off.
Fuck right off.
Yes, fuck right off.
3 words.
Yes, good.
Question. Can I create a website to inform about stem cells and link to the official page where the customer buys a product, or is that verboten?
No, you can do that, absolutely. You can set up a page that has information about Cerule, etc., so long as you use the approved, assets in your back office, your Cerule back office, and then you link people to your main Cerule site, which in my case is that one. But yours will be something different, obviously, or that you chose when you became an IBO. You can absolutely do that, yes. If you want to.
What are you doing? No, she's starting to fuck around.
Yes.
Well, she's been here almost 20 minutes.
You
That's
fuck around
pretty
too
good.
much. You always fuck around. Ooh.
Oh. Right. Your opinion on DHEA supplementation for a 55-year-old man to help treat fatigue and belly fat?
Okay, so how is it that DHEA is going to treat either of those things? By what mechanism?
Yes, answer the question with a question.
Yes. Well, the question is the question for this person to find out.
Yes.
Because I can't think of a single mechanism by which DHEA supplementation could possibly achieve either of those outcomes.
Okay, no singing.
Yes.
Do I have to worry about the non-stick coating on my air fryer? I read that it's not as bad as the old type.
Ideally, you probably want to use cast iron skillets. Aluminium, no good.
We have a
Teflon,
non-stick
yeah.
air fryer that is a bit fucked.
Teflon, not so good. But, you know, it's one of those things. It's in the 1%er range, I think, personally.
Yes. Dear Field Marshal of the Meat Militia,
Yes.
when will you come to Russia to lecture about the Randall cycle? Welcome to Russia.
Probably never, I would imagine. That's not really on my list of things to do.
Yes, the Randall cycle tour.
Yes.
Hey Bart, is Ted the real King Henry VIII?
No, he's the real Lord King, His Majesty, depending on the context. Edward Yellow. He's the real King of PimBartia. However, I rule in his stead because he tends to be a bit limited in his vocabulary.
Is Ted the defender of the carnivore realm?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Now we need to redo here.
Redo.
Here we go. Okay, thoughts on Garrett Smith's toxic bile theory? That you need soluble fiber to bind to toxins in bile and excrete them, because without fiber you reabsorb 95% of bile and toxins.
I think it's nonsense. There you go. I gave Garrett Smith an opportunity once to come on my channel and explain himself, and he did come on my channel, and I asked him questions to explain himself about his theories, and he gave me a bunch of gobbledygook. Didn't underpin anything he said with any mechanisms or anything. So
Gobbledygook.
gobbledygook is what he gave me. Maybe he was off that day, I don't know. I haven't really paid much attention to him since, frankly, because why would I? Cool. Nothing against the bloke, he's a nice bloke, but he just didn't say anything that convinced me of anything. He's one of these guys that says things that don't make sense, it seems.
So, what do you think about no salt on carnivore? Any issues? My skin seems to be better after cutting salt for 2 weeks. Any idea the mechanism behind this? Does salt affect microbiome? That's my guess.
Possibly it does, yes. There is a range around the intake of salt as to what's ideal for given individuals. I would suggest if you found that limiting or no salt is better for you, then I wouldn't fix that. I'd go with that. No salt, I presume, refers to the lack of the intake of salt rather than the taking in of the brand of salt, which is called no salt, which is potassium chloride.
It's actually called new salt.
New salt, is it? But it depends on which company. Some of them are called no salt.
Really?
Yeah. All right.
In the UK, it was new salt.
Right, well, they can't spell anything right, can they?
In it.
In it.
Oh. What can be the mechanism on like 30 to 50 grams of carbs 30 minutes before training? I'm curious after your chat with Rob.
Well, because that will cause a small amount of carb to be chucked into your bloodstream, which your exercising muscles will take up gladly and say thank you very much. It's not a long-lasting effect, though. And is it beneficial? Probably not. Ooh.
Right, next one.
Yes.
Can I cheat with keto? Have the occasional avocado and sauerkraut?
You can do anything you like. You can run up and down the street singing nickety-dee, nickety-dee, if you want to. Is that a good idea, though?
I don't think avocado and sauerkraut is going to do much
and
harm.
also the whole thing with keto, okay, a lot of people don't understand, though it's called keto, the ketogenic diet. People seem to think the goal of the ketogenic diet is to always be in ketosis and to always have ketones in your blood. It isn't. Not at all, in fact.
How many people are watching? Because here it says 5 people are waiting.
Yeah, well, it's not updated on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
clearly not.
Yes.
Right. Another question. While drinking a couple of glasses of whole milk activate the Randall cycle, I try to stay under 30 grams of carbs a day.
It depends. Absolutely, it depends on all sorts of things, including, but not limited to, your body mass, your basal metabolic rate at that time, your activity levels in the few hours immediately following the intake of that milk, your stress levels in general, all sorts of things. How long is a piece of string? What size glasses are we talking about? I would suggest 2 8-ounce glasses of whole milk would absolutely activate the Randall cycle to some extent for some time, most likely. How's that?
How do you like them apples?
How do you like them apples? Ted doesn't like those apples. We have an apple tree, apparently, in PimBartia.
Well, I think we have several.
Several, yes.
But we have one that has escaped.
We also have huge tracts of land.
Right. Is there a strong association between LPA2 activity and heart disease? It is purported that 2 show inflammation in blood vessels. Was wondering how strong the association actually is with cardiovascular disease.
I have not reviewed that field of the literature in some time. I would suggest to you that there may or may not be some degree of association. However, association establishes absolutely nothing whatever as regards cause nor effect under any circumstances. And as such, it'll be a nice little theoretical hypothesis generating piece of work at best. It will not establish cause nor effect, nor give us anything from which we can derive actual, useful, evidence-based suggestions for people in the real world. So, there you go. We also had that question last week. Is it something that's current in the literature or something?
Or on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes, maybe.
So, what's your thoughts on iodine? Been having random chest and breast tenderness. Goiters. Been on carnivore for 5 months. Looking good. Is taking a couple of drops. 5% Lugol's iodine good. UK also.
I would drop it on your skin rather than eating it, drinking it, consuming it orally. That way, if your body needs it, you'll absorb it through your skin, and if it doesn't, it won't.
But Dr. Elizabeth Bryce says the opposite.
I don't care what she says. I've got no interest in what anybody else says. I make the rules in this motherfucker. Trust me, I'm safe and effective. I'm the science. Don't question the science.
Yes.
Windy.
Windy or Wendy?
No, windy. Not windy. Windy.
Sounds the same to me. Windy. Does carnivore raise cortisol levels? Thank you.
No.
Well, they can in the beginning.
Sure.
Just like...
That's a generalised statement, though, around, is this an ongoing issue? No. Not for most people. If anything, it's less, probably. Yes, go on.
Circadian rhythms and the Randall cycle.
Yes.
Is there any studies investigating how circadian clocks influence substrate competition and how this relates to metabolic disorders?
Not to my knowledge, no. The Randall cycle thing was largely brushed under the carpet in 1963 when it was published, and almost nobody has written anything about it since. There's 1 or 2 papers available since that time. It seems to have been just one of those things that's been roundly ignored.
There's a lot about Ted today. Is Tid the one-eyed also Odin in disguise?
If you like, John. Sure. Ted is all things to all people. All hail Ted.
He's the All-Father.
All hail the bear, which is what the Latin at the bottom of the sigil says if you haven't already looked it up.
So, All-Bear Father?
The All-Bear Father. It says, well, it actually translates to all must worship the bear.
Oh dear.
Yes. Good.
What prioritized when using said fuel, exogenous ketones or alcohol?
I don't understand the question.
I don't know either.
Are you saying which is prioritized? Exogenous ketones or alcohol?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Alcohol is metabolized by the liver. Ketones are used by other tissues.
Yes, having been sent out by the liver.
Yeah, exactly. So if they're exogenous, then you could use them for energy as you usually would, probably.
In the same way that you would use the dehydrogenated alcohol. I don't know which is prioritized. Depends on certain circumstances, probably. Right.
I came across exogenous ketones are used before carbs as far as energy, but I'm curious about exogenous ketones versus alcohol.
Yeah, so you said, and we don't know the answer. Neither do I understand why you would want to take exogenous ketones at all.
Right, how old is Fluffy? Beautiful dog. She is 11.
11!
11.
11!
Yes.
And she's Chinese.
And Vicky's fucking off with the horses.
She is. Hi, Vicky with the horses.
Probably going for a ride in the wind.
Probably.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Anywho.
Right.
Would carnivores with no things like cancer get benefits from fasting 24 plus hours? Is it indicated? What about fasting while sick or after surgery? Does it help?
How long's a piece of string depends on circumstances. I would suggest fasting on the basis of several things to someone whom I am counselling one-on-one. In general, fasting absolutely does have its indications and its uses, but I'm not sitting here and suggesting generally to all people that you should go ahead and fast, and certainly not without supervision, personally.
I think people in general do not fast enough. But if you are someone who is nutritionally deficient, have overfasted, whatever, then that might not be the best thing to do.
Good.
But for most people, I think it's probably a good thing to do.
All right.
Apparently we need to bite the paws very urgently.
Yes, all right.
And probably my leg as well.
Jonathan's in the house. Good to see you, Jonathan.
So is Sandhopper.
Good.
How long are antibiotics likely to stay in the body and affect weight gain?
Depends on the brand of antibiotics, the kind of antibiotics, the basal metabolic rate of the person consumed,
What was that?
their body mass, their activity levels, their health status in general, their stress, all of those things. God knows. Yeah.
Does increasing calcium on carnivore help balance blood sugar levels in some people? Harry made a video about this, was wondering for some insight into the mechanism. Why would more calcium do this?
Well, ask him when he gets back in November. After he's done his 3 months for being a naughty boy and having opinions and saying words on the interwebs.
Indeed.
Yeah. Or email the boy and say, Harry, explain this. I'm sure he's absolutely busting to engage with people.
Yes.
And say words.
And to explain why that is.
I'm amazed he hasn't already exploded from lack of saying words.
Jonathan has a message.
Does he?
Because he's been a member for 36 months and says, send PimBartia your coins, you ungrateful parasites.
Yes, taxation for being members of PimBartia, the wider community. If you want to be a citizen of PimBartia, we will be setting a price soon, once we've decided what that is, for selling citizenships to the independent sovereign nation of PimBartia, which will be established, well, when we know exactly what date we get to take over the land, which the solicitors are dealing with, and we'll probably find out tomorrow, I imagine.
Let's hope so.
PimBartia is a reality. We are unconditionally committed to this purchase and them to selling it to us, them what owns it currently. So PimBartia is a reality soon. Isn't that amazing? And you can be a citizen and you'll get a flag and a certificate and a passport allowing you entry. So long as Ted says it's okay at the time.
You can bring your tent and set it up in this somewhere in the pasture.
Down at the back of the farm where we can't see you peasants.
Or hear you.
Yes.
And no fucking singing.
That's right. It says so on the garter on our
Yeah.
thingy bobby above there. It says, et non cantare. No singing.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
Is any amount of exogenous carbohydrates beneficial for height growth in kids, adolescents?
There are no reasons any human being post-weaning should consume any amount of exogenous carbohydrates whatsoever. No. A lack of doing so will not affect a child's growth, so long as they have the nutritional requirements they need from meat and fat, which they will get if they eat meat and fat. No, you don't need carbs. None. Still. After weaning.
Righty then. What must come before glycation of cells and tissues? Some think it only happens when one has an absence of fat and carbs available to oxidize. Sounds dumb. Clarify, please.
Where in the purple fuck did that ridiculous idea come from?
I don't know.
Who told you that?
Uh-oh. You were shouting.
Oh,
She's like, what's going on?
You've been naughty, that's why you're a bad dog. I blame it on you. Yes. Slick it into.
Now you upset the dog again.
Oh, you've upset the kid. Oh, slick it into, little fitter. Yes, so, no, that's just rubbish. Glycation occurs when the level of available glycating agents builds up. The more the glycating agent concentration builds up, the more likely it is that aspects of tissues will become deranged by said glycating agents.
Okay, so we're not moving that far away. Near what city town is PimBartia situated, please?
Well, it's in the Tasman region of New Zealand still. We live in the Tasman region now, and we'll still be in the Tasman region, which is quite a big place, to be fair, but not as big as the West Coast region, which is even bigger. So,
yes,
Tasman region.
So we're still not too far from Nelson. Just maybe
city
a little bit farther.
Yeah, the city of Nelson isn't far away.
Are there mechanisms to reverse prematuring grey hair? Is this a mineral deficiency such as copper?
Well, it depends on what you would class to be premature greying. It is thought to be a mineral, not deficiency, but a lack of mineral being pumped into the hair beyond a certain age.
So why did I have grey hairs when I was like 15 already?
Well, again, that's what I'm saying. Depends on what you mean by premature aging, because, well, greying isn't necessarily a sign of aging. It's correlated with aging, absolutely, but there is a wide standard deviation around this, as Pim has just outlined. Yeah. And, why does it need fixing?
Because uniform colours are nicer.
Are they?
Yeah. Who wants to be salt and pepper?
Well, I'm salt and pepper.
Why do some doctors say that vitamin C is transporting by GLUT1, but you teach GLUT4? Why do they say GLUT1 and why are they wrong?
Well, it seems that vitamin C is transported mostly by GLUT4, not so much by GLUT1 at all, and there are several other transporters for vitamin C as well, which are not in the GLUT family at all. Again, why do people say things that they say? I don't know why a lot of people say a lot of things that they say. As my research indicates to me that of the glutes, GLUT4 is the most prevalent, the most expressed of the glutes, and as such is the one that's most likely to be involved in the transport of vitamin C across membranes. Yes.
Shaved pup, yes, she's been shivering for 2 days.
I blame the parents.
Poor dog.
Oh.
She's all warm, she got warm ears, but she's still like...
Yeah.
Poor dog.
Yes.
Grounding. Is copper rod in the ground used to conduct the potential indoors through a conductor?
That seems like a tortured sentence as well. Tortured English.
I was like,
is a copper rod in the ground used to conduct the potential indoors through a conductor? It can be. It can also be any other ferrous metal as well. It doesn't have to be copper, so long as it's a electrically conductive piece of metal and the wire connecting it to the indoors is also electrically conductive, then yes.
Okay.
Ew.
Do you think nutritionists, dietitians know anything about gluconeogenesis or heard of it at all? If they do they think it's an inefficient way to supply glucose to the organs most wanting it?
Some know about it, some clearly don't. Nutritionists are not people who have a set curriculum, a set position statement. They're not people who are mandated by some external agency to hold certain opinions and espouse those. A nutritionist is any person who considers themselves to be a nutritionist, and so their opinions will vary widely. Dietitians, on the other hand, are universally told what to think, how to think, what to say, and how to say it. And if they say anything different from that, they risk being struck off the list of people who can then call themselves dietitians. They are people who not invariably, but almost invariably, lack intelligence, independent thought skills, or indeed a basic awareness of their own place in the universe, let alone objective reality in any way, shape or form. Mostly they're fuckwits. And yes, they will say things like it's inefficient, which is absolute rubbish. It's nothing of the sort. Good.
I don't know how it works nowadays, but when I studied nutrition, I didn't actually join the program from the start because I had studied something different before, but one of the requirements were that you have at least 1 year of chemistry before you start the nutrition studies. So I had more than that because I was studying more chemistry before
Mm.
actually deciding to be a nutritionist. And I think that most nutritionists, at least in Sweden, when the program looked the way it did, at which time it was actually 3 optional 4 years. Now I think it's definitely 4 years. So I suspect that most nutritionists from Sweden anyway should know about gluconeogenesis.
Mm.
It's not a secret concept.
No.
It's just that it's more mentioned in passing, as in this is a mechanism that can happen. But mentioned that, if there is surplus.
Yeah. Gluconeogenesis is not generally mentioned very much by dietitians because it's so damned inconvenient to them in terms of their ridiculous nonsense. Right, what's next?
Maybe this was an answer to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can... Anyway.
Yeah.
Nick Hebert,
Yes.
Nutrivore,
yes.
says he's seen good data on Cheerios being good for you. Thoughts?
Yeah, this is the same boy that had to ask Sean Baker for a source, a reference, establishing that a cow is indeed bigger than a chicken. So I wouldn't actually take much that Nick Hebert says pretty seriously on any data whatsoever. He has no skills in interpreting or reading data or research. He has no experience in research of his own. He's a boy with a high school diploma at best. Apparently he started a degree and quit because he already thinks he knows everything about the universe, including he thinks that it's an indicated and fair enough point to suggest to someone like Sean Baker that he would need to supply a reference to establish that a cow is bigger than a chicken. Nick Hebert is a waste of oxygen. He's a waste of space in his mummy's basement, frankly, and not worth our time or yours whatsoever. In fact, a complete boy, literally a child, with absolutely no ability to have any awareness of the universe around him whatsoever. A bloke who thinks he's awfully, awfully clever. He's not. I think I'm done on Nick. Good.
Right, we had the super chat that I
Yay,
missed
super
for
chats.
a couple of minutes. Let's see.
Ja, Tom.
Yes, thank you very much. Would drinking 240 milliliters of raw kefir daily be an issue in terms of random cycle activation?
It depends on your body mass, your activity levels, what else you ate during that day, the environment in which you've placed those genes at that time, your stress levels, etc., 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 etc. Also depends on how fermented the kefir is, i.e. how much glucose, galactose remains in it. Galactose. Lactose breaks down to galactose.
And what else?
And glucose.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Very good.
But glucose is mainly the problem more than galactose is.
Does galactose affect glycation?
Don't know.
I don't know either.
I do know that fructose is 7 to 11 times more glycating than is glucose, but I don't know about galactose.
No.
Maybe we should look that one up.
Maybe you should.
Whatever.
Quicker for me if you do.
Yeah.
Is Harry on the naughty step again?
Yes, he is. He's banned until November for saying words on the interwebs. You can't say words on the interwebs. That's not acceptable behaviour. We won't have any of that kind of thing. Naughty step for you, Harry Louse, King of Tasmania. See you in November. He's talking about doing a 24-hour stream so he can get it all out.
Is he really?
Is he going to get it all out in 24 hours, do you think?
Did he get the idea from us last week?
I don't know if he's actually literally going to do that.
Are there concerns of parasites from eating pork, chicken, or are these killed with heat during the cooking process?
Both of those are true, yes. Depends on how good your immune system is, how well you cook your pork/chicken, and how that pork/chicken has been treated before it was killed for you to eat it.
Most parasites also die if you freeze it for more than, X number of days, depending on what parasites they are, and at a certain temperature, obviously.
Yes. Maybe we should get a -80 freezer.
So all the cells explode.
Yeah, that'll fuck the meat completely.
We have a nitrogen freezer.
Right.
Right. Best way to come out clean about already honest and upfront natty or not status.
I don't know, Jonathan.
I have no idea what he's saying.
He's talking about what's the best way to tell people that he takes gear or doesn't take gear. I mean. He takes gear of some kind. All large bodybuilders take some kind of stack of something. Or they're liars. Those are the two options. But how you go about telling people that you've taken X, Y, or Z, Jonathan, I guess is up to you. I don't take any gear. And look how well developed I aren't.
Okay.
Ted takes the gear, though. He takes all the gear. See, look at his biceps. Whoa. Right. Good. Carry on.
Yes, his biceps are very big. Are nitrates and other preservatives really that bad for us? And if so, where do they rank next to seed oils and plant toxins? Dr. Kenberry says humans have been preserving meats ever since man.
I don't know of the relative badness on nitrates and other preservatives as they rank next to seed oils and plant toxins. I suggest that it would seem that they are vastly less based on anecdotal stuffs.
I mean, seed oils are just the worst.
They're just the worst, yes. Seed oils are absolutely horrific. Plant toxins, pretty nasty, depending on which plant and which toxin.
Yep. So, can I tell someone to fuck the right off?
Yes.
Fuck right off.
Yes.
So, Scott has been harassing me last week. I ignored you then. I'm going to continue to ignore you. If you want PDA, you can go to OnlyFans. Just that you have to watch other people because we're not there. So,
Are we not?
fuck right off. Stop fucking harassing me.
We love you still, Scott.
I don't.
Do you not? Oh, well.
There you go. Your opinion on grass-fed and grain-fed meat.
Yes.
If you had to give a % benefit to grass-fed, what would it be? Is it relevant?
Okay, I don't think this is an important issue. I think for absolute preference, if it's available and affordable to you, that grass-fed and grass-finished is probably better because of a very slightly different fatty acid profile, but I do not think this is important. I would vastly sooner see somebody eat a diet consisting of only grain-finished meats in preference to any diet containing any amount of plant material to speak of at all. And no, I'm not going to just guess at a percentage level. That's not what scientists do. Not real scientists anyway. Neither do they adjust what they observed and report something that they didn't. That's not science either, is it? No. Right.
Yeah, a percentage of benefit is going to be really hard because you don't even know what type of grains those cows or cattle or whatever you're eating have been eating.
Unless they lived their entire lives in PimBartia.
Where they won't have any grains at all. But
Exactly.
they could eat moldy fucking grains for months. And that quality of meat and fat is going to be very, very poor. Versus a cow that's had fresh grains is not going to be as bad, and you might just be a little bit more concerned with the fatty acid profile, which might not be a huge problem. So there you go. That's my thoughts on it. No cue. I'm just happy to be here. Very good.
Well, we're very happy you are here. Hope you're enjoying the entertainment.
Wrong one. That was not a question. Right. My liver doctor wants me on... What the fuck's Cifaxan? Never heard of that, but I'm not a medication expert. For the reduction in risk of hepatic encephalopathy from ammonia buildup in the brain. Is carnivore enough to protect me from this? Is this drug dangerous?
That, John, sounds absolutely squarely in the department of things that you should probably consult me about privately in the background.
Yes.
About that is a vastly personalised, tight end of the wedge. I'm going to need much more from you by way of your history and background before I can comment even remotely sensibly on any of that.
Right, we have a super chat.
Yes, good.
Hello, folate. How do I feel? I feel horrible and my health is not improving.
Right. Okay. Well, you should probably talk to me in the background as well, Tulip. Set yourself up with a consultancy, and we'll deal with ways of getting your folate status back to where it ought to be.
Roger. Does more grounding exposure increase the effect? For example, is there increased effect from using a grounding mat and a grounding bracelet at the same time? Will uses two devices increase the effect?
No. If you're grounded, you're grounded, and if you're not, you're not. Two forms of grounding are not better than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that covers it.
Does babies miss out, don't get any animal foods after weaning? Okay. Do babies miss out if they don't get animal food after weaning, I guess
Yes.
the question is.
Yes, that is very, very poor for a baby not to be put straight onto animal foods after weaning. I mean, milk is an animal food, by the way. So they're already on animal foods. It's just now you're going to put them on solid animal foods.
Well, it said after weaning.
Yes. Right. So, no, a baby should not go onto a plant-based diet after weaning. No. That's what cows should do. And other herbivorous animals, or largely herbivorous animals.
Okay. Do you think artificial intelligence of the future will help extend human lifespan? Do you think it's possible humans could live for hundreds of years with help of AI in future?
No idea whether AI will play any role in that whatever. I know already that the inherent human lifespan, it seems, encoded for in our genes and organ systems, we should live 150 years. But we don't, because of the way we live our lives, most of us. And we don't need artificial intelligence to help us with that. We just need to get some actual intelligence, some of us. And that could be the problem. Because, I mean, the only thing an artificial intelligence can ever do is exactly what it's told to.
Okay. So, should my friend attempt and film himself doing OMAD raw milk only? And if so, will that get him to the nearest hospital if he can otherwise drink 1 liter daily with just a bit of bloating plus cramping?
Please make sure that your questions are of any value to anyone, whatever. Right.
Do you think that our landlord should get more cows?
Jesus
Next
Christ.
one?
Yeah.
Are you considering giant cow-sized chickens for your farm?
Well, you'll need to send me a source to make sure that the chickens are indeed smaller than the cows. Absolutely. We will be having some chickens and some ducks and some kuni pigs and some sheeps, and eventually we will be stocking with some beef animals, probably wagyus. Tasty. And
we need many super chats to get those.
yes, we do. And Farmer Pim will be running all of that. So you need to send us all your money so that she can afford to buy the animals, because we've just taken on the mortgage to buy the place, and shit, that's going to be interesting. Ooh. Ooh.
Okay. Does fructose really cause fatty liver in humans?
It is absolutely possible that it can do under certain circumstances, yes.
If you have one of each, what is your favorite superhero from Marvel and from DC?
Not really. No. I have watched some Marvel and some DC films and or read some comics when I was a kid. I'm kind of over it now.
No favorites.
Yeah, no, not really.
Get back.
Yeah.
What are the dangers of seed oils?
Well, they can displace the naturally occurring saturates in various structures, including lipid rafts, which is a bad thing. They are pro-inflammatory on one or two different pathways, depending on what kind of seed oil we're talking about. They are almost certainly rancid as fuck when you eat them, consume them, and as such subject yourself to the very significant risks of very, very dangerous primary and secondary oxidation products. What would you add to that?
Just don't do it.
Yep, good.
Like, I understand why it's interesting, but we've spoken about this so many times that it gets a little bit boring.
Well, we do call it frequently asked questions.
Yes,
I suppose
I
we should
know.
change it to something like new questions.
Yes,
fuckers.
new questions only.
Yes.
But I don't think there are many people that would argue that seed oils are healthy anymore. Some people would maybe argue that oils with a lot of monounsaturated fats in would be healthy, but as far as it goes. So just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Trust the science. Don't do it.
Yes, trust me, I'm the science. I'm safe and effective. Don't question the science. Good.
Do you think that excessive exposure to technology, blue light, Wi-Fi, etc., could make a person irritable?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we are irritable. We have
no new questions.
Oh my god.
And not enough super chats to pay our mortgage, which is going to be quite tasty.
Oh god, you would have to live stream 24/7 for.
Well, we will.
years.
There's a threat. Pay us not to.
But then, how much Wi-Fi and stuff are you going to be exposed to? You're going to be super grumpy.
We are going to be super grumpy.
Oh, now you're just grumpy.
Uh-huh.
We are going to be super grumpy.
Right.
Will ruminant meat be always a better choice, health performance-wise, than other animal foods like kefir, cheese, eggs, or some variation can help?
Not necessarily. We evolved on ruminant meats largely, and as such, that's what the positive selection pressure has been for. It's probably optimal, but I wouldn't suggest to someone who eats a lot of dairy that is necessarily a problem. It might be, but it might not be too.
Skunky forgot the cue, but I shall read it anyways.
All right.
If one is hyperinsulinemic, which condition has built up over multiple decades, how long should they expect it to take for insulin levels to revert to a normal, healthy level?
Depends, Dave, on what you do to help suggest to help get the situation back to so-called normal. There are a number of tools that one can throw at hyperinsulinemia, including extended fasting, case by case, depending on what's going on.
Okay then.
That was some damn fine scrolling there, Lou.
Yeah. How many hours do you recommend to ferment kefir so that it has the least amount of carbs as possible?
It's your department. I don't do the kefir, you do.
It completely depends on the temperature at which you're fermenting it.
There you
Because the warmer it is, the quicker the process is going to go. There are people who choose to go fairly low for like 48 hours, but now you're going to have, I don't know where you're located, but from what I've read and the person who's growing all the kefir grains that I bought, they recommend 20 to 25 degrees Celsius for at least that particular one. I don't know if it can be different for other ones. And I can tell you that it's definitely done in 24 hours. What I could do maybe is just put a lot less kefir grains in, because the more you have, the more they're going to grow, or the quicker they're going to consume the sugar in the milk. So there's so many variables that I can't just give you a blanket answer to that.
Very nice.
What you're going to notice is that when there isn't a lot left, is that it's going to separate. So you're going to get pure whey and like lumps of doings. So you have to mix it up, and it's the more you let it go, the more sour it's going to be. So it's kind of, what can you put up with? It's not going to be dangerous to drink or eat, but it's not going to be nice necessarily. We had very, very similar questions, so I'm going to ignore that. Go to the next one. And we've seen that as well. So if you didn't hear the answer, go back to the beginning and watch it again.
Yes. Very nice.
All right. Maybe it was already talked about, but do you think lactose in milk binds to the proteins in milk via glycation? If galactose tends to not do that as much, the glucose will do that. No?
Don't know. I haven't seen any data on that whatsoever.
Question. A1 versus A2 protein. Is A2 really better?
Don't know. I've never tried. Comparing it in myself and your mileage will vary. It's a very individual thing. It seems like A2 is better for those who have a problem with A1, of course. What's next?
Next is this one.
Yeah.
Is MCT oil worth taking? Fish oil, heaps of people say it's great. Heaps of people say it's shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take fish, so I'm taking fish oil. Am I wasting my money? 13 weeks into carnivore.
I would not take fish oil at all, personally. I wouldn't go anywhere near it, frankly, at all. No. MCT oil, plus or minus, it may or may not provide you with any benefit whatsoever, depending on what your intakes are outside of taking the MCT oil in your diet. If something is working for you, I probably wouldn't fix it, except if you are taking fish oil, which will not be good for you long term, almost certainly, because it will almost certainly be as rancid as fuck. Very, very dangerous, in fact. Very dangerous.
Get some proper grass-fed fat and eat that instead. It's going to have enough omega-3s if you don't eat, grains and especially seed oils that are very high in omega-6s. You're going to be fine. Would a proper carnivore ketogenic diet help someone who has a lower than normal blood glucose level?
In what way?
I guess to get it up to normal.
On a carnivorous diet, you're a person, any given person, an average person, would be expected to normalize pretty much everything because it is a species-appropriate, species-specific diet. Ketogenic diet is some human invention. And the carnivore diet is not particularly ketogenic, by the way. It's not designed to be, it's not supposed to be. It's not the most extreme kind of ketogenic diet there is. It is not a ketogenic diet to speak of, really, any more than anything else. So it's possible that it might help. Over what period of time, I don't know. Everybody's mileage will vary, of course.
Is it safe to consume fermented vegetables? I saw a study by Eliza Nees et al. Claiming that fermentation reduces plant toxins, but does it really get rid of all the plant toxins there?
It does not get rid of all the plant toxins generally, no. Is it safe to consume fermented vegetables? Well, safe is one of those words that seems to be a movable feast, a variable, as opposed to either completely safe or completely unsafe. That's not how it is. There are risks to everything in the world, aren't there? I wouldn't personally eat fermented vegetables as any significant part of my diet or a staple at all.
You're already safe and effective.
Yes, I'm safe and effective, me. I'm the science, don't question it.
Yes. So, but Blackbird or AB3, which album do you prefer?
Tough one. There are some very good songs on both of those albums. However, potentially their most technically great album, in my estimation, is the very first album called One Day Remains. There were some great songs on that. That was a banger. An absolute beaut. Obviously, Blackbird wins many, many points because it contains the song Blackbird, which is one of the best songs that they ever did. But I can't think of a single track on any one of those three albums that I really don't like. Beyond that point, the albums that followed those first three, I think they got a bit diffuse, frankly. And they went away from what was working for them in terms of banging rock tracks, and now they're just doing stuff that's kind of overtly strange on purpose, and I don't like it. So there you go.
There you go.
Yes.
More random pop culture question.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see play the role of Harley Quinn going forward? I would rather see The Rock than Lady Gaga. At least that would be funny.
I don't care on that at all.
Yeah. All right, back to nutrition then.
That's good.
Is the IGF-1 boost with dairy, especially yogurt and cheese, of any relevance to muscle building, or it's not that much different from muscle meat?
I don't think it's any different. I haven't seen any evidence that would suggest to me or make me believe any particular benefit over meat is there. Why would there be? Meat is the absolute thing we've evolved on eating, not cheese. Cheese is a human invention. Once we domesticated cows and started using their lactations for food.
Yes, I have a soulmate here. Used to work for a place that made fish oil. There is no way at all you could get me to take this stuff.
Yeah, she used to work in such a place too.
Yeah.
I used to work in a place that made fruit juice for a while. I wouldn't touch that either. Woo!
I was the one quality controlling the fish oil.
Yes.
And you can't get it clean. You can't get rid of all the oxidation products, even in the really high top end, super processed. Like it's never going to be zero. So it's just a matter of time how long it takes before it gets really bad.
Yes.
Is there an easier way to estimate fluid levels than looking at edema between the Achilles and ankle bone on the lateral side?
I'm sure it depends on the situation and exactly what it is you're looking for and for what reason.
Me. Or is this the last?
Yeah,
it is. We have reached the bottom. That's why I can't scroll.
Wow.
Oh, here's one. But any cereal plans for Brazil shipping?
Not that I'm aware of at this time. It could happen any tick of the clock, though.
I don't understand this one, but which band would you also watch?
I think that was referring to the question about AB3 and One Day Remains and Blackbird. It's Alter Bridge. Those that don't know, Alter Bridge is a supergroup which evolved out of the initial destruction of Creed, when the rest of the guys in the band had a problem with Scott Stapp and they got rid of him and they took a new singer on called Miles Kennedy, who happens to also be the vocalist for Slash, Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. And also he was in a band before that as well, which only really got famous after he got famous for being in AB, Alter Bridge, and also for being in the Slash band. They're a great group. They're an awesome band. The first 3 albums absolutely kick ass, and then after that, in my opinion. I've seen them play live a number of times. Incredible, including when they played with an orchestra live in the Royal Albert Hall in London one night. That was incredible. And Mark Tremonti is the single best living guitarist, I think, in the world. Bar none. That's just my opinion. Doesn't have to be anybody else's. But if it isn't your opinion, we can't be friends.
I don't know why anyone would ask you this question. Which country do you think makes the best coffee taste-wise?
I have no idea. Certainly it's not the UK.
Your favourite coffee is like freeze-dried
That's right.
bullshit.
Yes, I'm a connoisseur of freeze-dried bullshit. Maybe when we get going in PimBartia, maybe we could literally freeze-dry some bullshit.
Yeah, we could.
See if that's any good for making coffee with. We can feed that to the visitors. Yes, this is what we do here in PimBartia. We drink the bullshit coffee.
Yeah.
Yes, it's compulsory. And if you don't partake, then you're being cold.
Yes. This is the culture of PimBartia.
Yes, it is. You take all the bullshit we feed you. Basically, those are the rules. And if you don't like it, it's beautiful. You can get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Oh, super chat.
First, do you believe in abiogenesis?
Abiogenesis.
That's what it says.
And well, you'll need to be a bit clearer about the exact context you mean there, Jason. Abiogenesis of what? What are you talking about? Good.
Right, super chat then.
Yeah, super chat.
Hi guys, will you make your thyroid worse and ruin your adrenals long term by eating carnivore OMAD?
No. There is no evidence to support that idea.
Do you think it's good to eat OMAD for the rest of your life?
Can't see any reason why not, so long as it's working for you.
I've seen too many people it's not working for long term, so I'm not convinced.
Well, I'm saying that I think on average it's the best so far, but I'm happy to change that if over the next 10 years it seems that people are not doing as well as they were previously for me in terms of the folks that I'm consulting with.
So what's your favourite non-carnivore food? Pim, Bart and Ted?
Ted doesn't tend to eat much of anything. He's a breatharian is what he is, and he doesn't even breathe. So Ted's pretty easy. I like all sorts of bullshit that humans shouldn't consume. I like potato chips. I like corn chips. I like chocolate. I like beer and wine. Ginger is a particular favourite. All sorts of horrific shit that a human should never consume, I like. Yeah.
But there are also, I mean, things that... I'm not even a carnivore. Well, I'm by 100% carnivore. Things that I need when I'm carnivore is usually things like garlic. Just to make garlic butter
Garlic's good, I like garlic.
or pesto that I like to have on my meat. But obviously, being an ex-sugar addict, I like everything sweet. So stevia so that I can drink my coffee. And that's the only so that I don't actually use sugar. We like blueberries, but we haven't eaten much blueberries for a while now.
No.
I don't know. And obviously ice cream.
Yes, I like ice cream too.
The thing that will always have some... What's the word? Have some shiny object syndrome. Ice cream.
Shiny things.
Ice cream. Yeah. I don't think my brain can ever let go of ice cream.
Yeah.
Question. Does Cerol have chlorella in it? I got a violent vomiting reaction to chlorella tablets.
I don't think so, but you can go to the website and you can get a picture of the label that says what's in it exactly and what isn't. It doesn't ring a bell that there's chlorella in it. I don't think there is. Roger.
Oh, do seed oils damage mitochondria and under which mechanisms?
It is possible, yes, by displacing the proper saturated fatty acid chains in some of the lipid rafts, which make up the membranes, for example, and also in the proactivation of inflammatory pathways, which can lead to, well, up to and including apoptosis of a cell by the mitochondrial self-destruct mechanism, potentially.
Right.
Yep.
Claire is not impressed. What the fuck is that shit doing there?
Yeah.
But you drink instant coffee. Ugh. Get a coffee pod machine. I love mine, not going back.
Well, you're welcome to come to PimBartia and be the bearer of and the maker of the coffee. You can be the, what's the word for a coffee maker? Something sounds like something flashier than it is. I can't remember the term for a coffee maker. A barista. That's what it is.
I thought a barista was the person actually making the coffee.
Well, there you go. You can be the official barista of the PimBartia nation, if you like.
Where no one actually appreciates coffee much.
So I would quite happily drink decent coffee, but if it was made for me, but I can't be asked making it myself or any of that bullshit.
Right. I'll pass.
Yes.
I wear a CGM. My daily average blood glucose is only 100, and yet my A1C is 5.9. How can this be possible?
Because your blood cells live longer on a carnivore diet than they would do otherwise. It's a false reading for that purpose, for that reason.
Reason.
Fucking hell.
Is that French?
Yes, I'm French.
How many meals do you eat a day?
One generally.
And coffees?
And
with
coffees.
cream in?
And with cream, yes. You're here to help, aren't you?
Well, just to clarify, because I could say I just eat
Coffee
once
is
a
not a
day,
meal.
but I have eggs in my coffee and I drink my coffee.
Okay, right.
So that's a meal for me.
Right, okay. So for you, that's a meal. My coffee don't contain eggs, usually.
No, but cream.
Cream, yes. But that's not really a meal, is it? It's a small amount of energy. Right.
What if you whipped it? Then it looks like a meal.
There will be a lot of whippings, I think, in PimBartia to get everybody into line so that they know who the king is.
Okay. Sorry, do you believe life started from non-life? I don't, and I'm just curious.
Well, everything started from something. Life did start at some point. Whenever you determine that life has begun to be life, and that is made up of inanimate objects, which are not actually objects, really, atoms and various put together in various different ways according to the anthropic principle. Why do they connect up in that way? Because it couldn't be any other way based on the properties of those atoms. So yes, life did start at some point from non-life. That's the only explanation. It can't possibly be anything else.
Right. This coffee issue is very emotional for people.
Yes.
Get yourself a mocha pot and some Cafe Bustelo. You won't regret it. Ditch that freeze-dried shite. Are mushrooms okay?
It depends. You'll have to ask them. Are you okay, mushroom? Yes, I'm a fun guy.
Good.
Do you mean to eat? Well, it's up to you. It depends on how you react to them and in what amount you eat them and stuff. And also depends on what kind of mushrooms, because some mushrooms will kill you and others can be eaten. I don't eat mushrooms because they're fucking disgusting.
Just like coriander.
Oh, God. Coriander and mushrooms are both things that are banned absolutely in PimBartia.
What?
They're No
I had
coriander or mushrooms.
prepared lots of mushrooms with coriander fried in butter for dinner today.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
It's as if you don't know me at all.
Yes. Or could it be a different explanation?
Well, there could be. However, I would think, having purchased the independent nation of PimBartia for us, that you might fucking appreciate me a bit, maybe. No? Okay.
Because I'm a non-person. I'm not allowed to do anything anymore.
Mm.
So I have to revert to mushrooms and coriander. So Steak and Butter Girl has a video of carnivore ice cream.
Good.
We made carnivore ice cream several times. It's not ice cream, and you know it. Tastes okay, but it's not, it's not ice cream. It's like all the keto treats I was eating for years, and you're not satisfied from eating them because your brain expects you to have real sugar, so it's never going to be satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I would ever be satisfied with carnivore ice cream. Every time I eat it, it's like, eh, and then it just sits in the freezer forever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that doing certain mental or physical activities throughout the day increases the possibility of getting hungry again after a proper carnivore meal?
Yes.
Hmm.
What's next?
You're bored now. What's next? While bodybuilding on the carnivore diet, would you recommend lowering only the fat intake or protein and fat together when in the cutting phase?
I would suggest that a cutting phase is a dumb idea. Because why do you need to cut? The only reason that you would need to cut is if you had been so-called bulking, which is also as stupid as shit. Why would you be bulking? The whole procedure of bodybuilding is fucking inane. It's stupid.
You can talk to Jonathan instead.
Yeah, and he'll tell you the same thing. It's daft. It's stupid, and the way it's done is just makes no fucking sense anyway.
So, if we're talking about deep stuff, do you think our consciousness is eternal?
No, I don't.
Thoughts on methionine, and is it a problem with red meat only diet? Should we add glycine to reduce the mTOR activation from methionine?
That's very individual as well. Very individual. It depends on all sorts of things, including various SNPs and all sorts of things that go on there. Your genes, the environment in which you place those genes, your activity levels, your stress levels, all sorts of things. That's not the kind of question we can answer sensibly.
The only mushrooms I eat are the occasional five dried grams, lol.
Oh, you do you, John? That's
Well,
good.
send some to me. I don't understand this question.
Right.
Puffs or vanilla wafers for the ducks?
Cheesy puffs of vanilla. They won't be getting either of those things. The ducks will be getting proper duck food. We have a pond in PimBartia. They can live there and eat water things.
Mm. And snails.
And snails and puppy dogs' tails. No, not those.
No, we're not docking any animals in PimBartia. Have a history of heart problems, so want to start cereal. Can only afford one. Stem Enhance looks the best. Yes or no? Have just been the fish oil. Cheers.
Okay, well, how much you can afford really depends on whether you can afford free. Can you afford free? No charge. $0.00 every month for what you really need, which is all three of the main core line oral supplementation products, being Stem Enhance Ultra, which is the flagship and the most important, Active, the anti-inflammatory, and Plasma Flow, the blood flow optimizer. They all work synergistically to get together. You need all three. Free is the way to afford them the best, and the way to do that is to join us as an IBO instead of as a retail customer, and set up 3 customers who buy those 3 products on an auto ship monthly from you, ergo making yours free for all time as long as you maintain 3 or more customers at that level. How's that?
Apparently no chlorella listed in this rule.
Yeah, I didn't think there was.
No.
No.
Roger O. So what is your favourite alcoholic drink?
Stone's Original Green Ginger Wine.
Not gin then.
No. I've had several very unpleasant experiences with gin over the years.
Me too, but not from drinking it.
Mm. Yes.
Right, I think that was it. Well, there's a super chat, but I can't see it on this screen.
It'll show up sooner or later.
Yeah, here we go. Thank you for the super chat.
Yes.
Thoughts on methylene blue?
I tried it for a bit. I didn't really notice anything, and it made my skin feel a bit crawly, creepy. So I stopped taking it.
Creepy crawlies.
Mm.
Do you like chestnuts, boiled or fried?
I don't like chestnuts. I do not like green eggs and ham.
I
do not like
chestnuts.
them, Sam, I am.
But I've only roasted them in the oven.
I would not like them on a box. I would not like them with invisible cocks. I would not like them here nor there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like chestnuts or green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Josephs, I am.
So back to chestnuts then.
Yes.
They have to be eaten with a lot of butter and salt. If we eat some time before a workout, does the glucose level on the blood help with exercise? Saw something like this on Sean Baker. He has done that with protein, not carbs.
Only if you are not well adapted to fat and your body still relies on glucose exogenously as an energy source because you're not well adapted to fat. Otherwise, no. It's a self-perpetuating problem.
Okie dokie then. In previous videos explaining AFA, did you mean that AFA itself acts as the L-selectin ligand, or does it activate other L-selectin ligands in the body?
My understanding is the active ingredient derived from the AFA is a direct L-selectin ligator.
Or glycocalyx?
Glycocalyx.
I see. Rapidly damaged by glucose.
Depends on how much glucose and a whole bunch of other circumstances like this kind of things that I've been saying all along in terms of your genes, the environment in which you place them, your activity levels, etc., 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 etc. How long's a piece of string? In theory, yes, they can.
I think someone needs fucking spanking. Are you going to eat that dog? Question from Springfield, OH.
Yes. There's the joke around that, in case you don't know, my love,
I don't.
is that supposedly the place has been taken over by a bunch of illegal aliens from Haiti, and apparently they're eating people's pets, according to some orange people.
Well, that's very rude.
Yes.
You're not going to eat them, are you? You're a vicious killer yourself. Or not.
Yes.
I'm not sure about the question, but how about spam?
Spam. I don't like any spam. I don't want spam. Spam is pretty horrific.
And that was it.
Right.
Now we're done.
Are we?
No more questions.
Excellent. No more questions today. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the super chats. Today we got enough to not pay for very much of our huge mortgage on our huge trucks of land. Coming up, as soon as we do get hold of that property, there will be some videos being made about the property and what it looks like, and there will be videos being made of Pim playing farmer and learning how to be a farmer and doing farming things. And that'll probably be on another channel altogether, actually. We'll call it PimBartia Farms or something like that. Or PimBartia Farm, because there's only one of them. It's not farms, it's a farm. So that'll be a new channel for you to all go and follow and stuff. That'll be good. Yeah, pretty much. That's how things are. And, of course, in the meantime, probably you should put on your Meat Militia.
That could be fucked.
Okay, well, then you'll have to listen to the song, which goes a little bit something like this. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. And I don't give a fuck if it's in tune or in time. See you next week.
Courtesy of Lars.